started here. We are 2 minutes late. That is 2 minutes we'll have to make up. Hello, happy Friday to you, or perhaps Saturday morning if you are from the European audience. We are Legacy GamesCast. We're here this week to talk about changing the title of the stream. Frank, could you help me with that?
I already did. It's good.
Oh, of course you did. We are this week going to talk about a few things that just caught our eye this week, and then we're going to move forward and we're going to talk about games we couldn't finish or games we couldn't get into, even though I have a couple that I wish I could have gotten into. From that, we'll see where that takes us, and feel free to chime in the chat or let us know what you think in the comments. So, without further ado, let's get rolling. What's going on this week? What catches your eyes? Shazam, you want to go first?
Sure thing. So this week, excuse me, I noticed that they got Prey going. Actually, I don't know if that was this week or the last couple of weeks, something like that. But that immediately caught my eye because I remember playing the original Prey back in 2006. The first Prey came out.
Great game.
Underrated. It was not bad. Did you play the game too?
Yeah, that's the one with the sphere and the you get abducted with your grandpa.
Yeah,
and you have the spirit walking. Yeah, I played that at someone's house. Yeah, dude, it was like super violent.
It was horrible, dude. Yeah. Scary.
Who developed that game?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
We're doing
it's made by Prey guys.
I think it was made by. I think it was. I'm not going to be authoritative, whatever I say.
Human Head Studios. Human Head Studios.
Human Head Studios. There it is. I knew that.
That wasn't even on the tip of my tongue. I'll be completely honest with you. That wasn't.
Nah, it was nowhere. It was crazy game. And back in those days, it was just when video games were starting to get get going on the weird stuff. At least in my perspective, from what I'd seen, maybe I was just super sheltered as a gamer and just didn't know, but. Dude, that game starts out, you're in a bar and you're with your girlfriend, you're a Native American guy on a reservation, and then you get abducted by aliens, and then you end up in this giant sphere like Nick said, and then dude, it just gets weird because your grandpa is there with you, and he's this wizened old Native American guy who in the first half hour of the video game was telling you how you're washed up and you need to change your life and stuff. And then you're in a spaceship. And then the next time you see him, he's dying because he's getting hit by a giant machine that's squeezing the life force out of him. And he's just you come in just in time to see this giant tube thing about to just mutilate him. And he's just don't worry, grandson, I forgive you, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he just dies.
But it's hard to describe. It was...
Yeah, it's just he says something, reassuring to his grandson, he's okay with the fact that he's about to die, but he's pinned to a metal wall, and there's this just giant claw machine that's just literally about to suck his guts out, and he's in a spaceship, and he's remarkably composed for the whole, for given the nature of the endeavor, Anyway, long story short,
that's the whole game. It just cuts
that's the end of the game.
You get abducted from a bar.
You have 5 dialogue options, and those determine how the game ends. No, that's not true at all. But what the cool part was that there was stuff standard aliens and people getting mutilated and stuff, alien technology. But then there were boxes lying on the floor, and you would look through the boxes, and it was just Portal. It would be you would go through a box, you could walk through it or crawl through it. And then you would end up in another place, and then gravity would flip as well. So you were just not only on this weird alien spaceship, but then there's this physics stuff coming in, and then on top of that, as you're going through, you start having these visions of your grandfather in the spirit realm. You come out, and then suddenly there's a flash of light, and an eagle goes by, and then you're in this in this rocky area, the American Southwest, and this ethereal version of your grandpa comes up, and he's just son, you have many lessons yet to learn on this alien spaceship, or something like that.
It's really cool.
It goes crazy, and then there's even ghosts that start showing up in the ship and stuff. It
was metaphysical meets alien. It was really metaphysical too. It didn't have an identity. It didn't feel like an alien game. I think that's what That's what we're excitedly getting at. But like the new one looks, it's like a rebirth of the idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it a remake or a sequel?
No, because
it's a reboot.
They made this. They made it for a one for like 2010 or 11, right? They had one
Prey
ready.
2. They're gonna make a Prey 2. They canceled it.
They had this really cool, really well. I mean, it's cinematic, so it wasn't like in game, but they had this really like intriguing, cool trailer for it, where like this bounty hunter is running through this really alien landscape, and Johnny Cash is playing, and it was like, what, you saw the trailer, and like, this is gonna be a great game, and then they canceled it, didn't say anything, and now they've brought this new game up, which it's nothing like that, but it almost feels like that same feel of BioShock games, where the only thing these games are gonna have in common is this feel to them. And that's what I hope so anyway. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but like, it's something about these. They found these creatures that are like nanites, or they're like some kind of. They're like these shadow things that can make shape shift. They look like shadows, and your character had some kind of experiment done with him, and that's what makes him able to combat this unstoppable force. And that's really it. And it's just very ambiguous, like really like vague in all the trailers, but it looks really, really cool. And given that the game, like the first game, in my opinion, was really surprisingly good, and it felt like nothing you had played before. I would equate it to like the outside of the storytelling, Andreas. So don't worry, but I would equate it to like BioShock. Like it was like what the fuck is this? Like the entire game was like, what is That's awesome, but what? And then it made sense in context. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was watching My Name is Pipes video on it, and spoilers if you haven't watched the video, when he breaks the glass like around the test chamber that is in. That was a really cool moment, I think. That was really like reality shattering, so to speak.
Reality shattering because of the glass. It's too good. No, the atmosphere looked really great. The one thing that I would like have complained about it was that what left the biggest mark on me about the original Prey was it was so weird. Like, it was just like such weird. And then when you thought it was weird, it'd get more weird. And this game does not look like that. I can understand why they didn't go in that direction. You know, the direction that they're going with it looks plenty interesting, plenty appealing, you know, but and I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
That came out this week, right? Was it this week?
Is it already out? Andres, do you know? No.
What?
No, how? So Bife got it soon? He got it before everybody else?
Yeah, it
was a demo.
Demo.
Oh, okay. I totally was like, did it come out? And I didn't know, because it didn't come out. But I had deduced that it had to have come out if he was playing it.
Yeah, it looks like it's not till May.
Yeah, I'm excited.
No, there's a demo video.
Put that on.
Yeah, the demo video looks awesome.
Like, put that on your list. Let's keep rolling. Fly, doing anything?
Yeah. One quick surprise hit. I was just reminded by it, and it's of interest to at least three of us because we love the games they made. But I don't know if you saw this, but you mentioned BioShock. Did you see that the remnants of Irrational Games, they've taken the effort to create a new company name. They're called Ghost Story now, and they are working on a new IP. So who knows what'll ever come of that. But I mean, honestly, whatever Ken Levine does next, I'll definitely take a look at it after how good, BioShock and Infinite were. So that
100%, dude.
So the fact that they're taking the effort.
Ken Levine.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's it's worth noting if they're going through the effort to create a company name, maybe they're on the verge of announcing something. Who knows? Maybe it's still 5 years away. Whatever. But
although, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Ken Levine went in to do Recore. Was he the one who did Recore? You know that game that Microsoft released?
I do know the game, yeah.
Yeah, like I think that was his, because I was looking for what his next project was after BioShock. So I was like, let me check.
Yeah, I thought Recore was somebody else. I thought was Recore, it wasn't the guy from the Mega Man series. It was somebody else. I forget who though.
There's a lot of Ken Levine has a lot of
Yeah, my bad. No, that's Joseph Stodden. That's Joe Stodden, who incidentally was the guy who did the story for Destiny initially, and then he left.
We know.
We
noticed. No, Ken Levine, wherever he's gone, has had this aura. I don't know if you guys follow this aura of like drama and success around him, where like there's all these different stuff going around about how he's hard to work with, and then there's conflicting things saying that he's not hard to work with. I don't care because he's produced, like, he is everything he's worked on that I know of. Like, it's been like System Shock. There was one in between I didn't play, and then Bioshock Infinite. He didn't work on Bioshock 2 apparently.
Yeah. No, that wasn't that.
Which was like Bioshock 2 was like the prequels of Star Wars. Like you suffered through it because you liked the franchise.
Right. It was like Arkham Origins. Like, yeah, you played it because it was more Arkham, but you could tell it wasn't the original team that put it together. It was clearly the publisher trying to rake in some more cash.
I definitely.
So anyway,
yeah,
I didn't want to go too far off the rails there. You mentioned BioShock, and I thought that was worth noting. So just a real quick hit. I was going to talk more about Zelda tonight, but I realized that I'm going to be a kid at Christmas next week with actual hands-on impressions of it. So I'll save a lot of it for then. But there was some things said today by certain people. They put out the embargo on pre-reviews. Previews were allowed to be put out today. And, one of them on Polygon actually said, this is probably the hardest Zelda game he's ever played. He said, it's probably not fair, but this game is going to be compared to Dark Souls with the difficulty level. It's not as punishing, apparently, but where you die, you lose everything. It's not nothing that punishing, but apparently it's very difficult. The world is huge. And I've heard people doing nothing but gush over it all day long. I was listening to Waypoint earlier, and he was just talking about how he played Horizon, and it was good. But after he played Horizon and he moved to Zelda, this is actually the exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen with a lot of people. He was burned out on the traditional concept of open world games because Horizon he felt was pretty linear, whereas Zelda is wide open, and it's rewarding. Like, you see something off in the distance that looks interesting, you go there and you get something. You're not just wandering off and stumble into a hole in the wall where nothing's going on and you just wasted an hour of your time getting there. So I'm really excited right now. I'm going to calm down and wait till next week and see how it goes. But the early reviews and previews, everybody is loving it. They're saying it's great, and we'll see next week when I get to play it.
For you commenting on, like, you just get lost in a cave, like, just brought me back to, because every fucking time in Skyrim I went into a cave. I ended up in what was the Dwemer's place called? Their big city underground.
Dwemer Ruins.
Yeah, I guess it's Dwemer Ruins. But every time I'd be like, oh, that's a cool little thing. I'm gonna go in here. Oh, look, there's a bear. I fight it. Oh, look, and I'm just like, next thing I know, I'm going deeper and deeper, and then I come out in the other side of the world, and I was like, had to like cheese my way through 5 mega level things I couldn't fight, and like. Anyway, he's triggered me.
You're just a stealth archer all the time, dude.
So that's I won't talk too much about it because I'm not going to shut up about it next week. I promise you. That's a threat, not a promise. The other thing is, I said last week I've been playing Destiny, and I've been playing more of it. And honestly, maybe some people hate it, but I feel like this meta was built for me. I've had some of the most fun in the Crucible I've had the entire time the game's been out. That's probably because all the good players aren't playing anymore. But anyway, I've enjoyed it. And some of the things they actually, what I like this week is this week in Bungie, they were actually pretty open about what they're trying to do next. They revealed some things that, pretty early on. They recognize, okay, you're complaining about special ammo. You're complaining about nerfs. Well, here's what we're going to try and do. They're going to try and nerf scories. They're going to try and dial back the hoarding of special ammo by sidearms. So there's a lot of things in play, and it's really interesting. They got a new, I forget his name, Josh Hamrick is running. He did a lot of the This Week at Bungie this week, and it was pretty open, and he's been pretty open about things on Twitter, and it's the kind of thing. It's a callback to when we had our discussion about community management. And it was actually really refreshing to see them come out this early in the process and say, hey, we might not be able to get this done. It may change before we get it pushed out to you, but here's what we're thinking about based on your feedback. So it was kind of the first time in a while where they quickly responded with good answers to people's problems with a patch. So all I know is, like I said, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, exactly.
That's what a revolution, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a simple thing. But I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good run, and I'm looking for, I might actually play some Iron Banner next week.
Good man. I think that I mean, on a quick note, we gotta keep moving here. But the like Bungie's our biggest complaint, we bitched about it the entire time on the developer episode.
Every
But
day.
yeah, it's just basically that they don't communicate very well with their player base, and it's not that they don't talk, it's that when they talk they don't say anything, and they just they don't talk for a long time. I'm talking months, and then they go, here's the update, here are all the changes we're making. And this is like the day and age of community feedback before you release changes, because people love the game. So I'm really glad that they're being more open, and they're just pulling, like I was ranting about it like 2 weeks ago, and I said, just fucking do what they're doing at Blizzard. Just talk and say, we don't know if we're going to do this, but here's what we're thinking. What do you think? And that way you can have the community. Because I think that in most cases, the communities of these games are not in agreement, but there's only 2 or 3 really common schools of thought. It's not like everybody has all these wild ideas, like, because of the communities like Reddit and stuff like that. Like, people start to get on these trains of, yes, we should do this instead. I saw this on another thread. This is a really good idea. So anyway, I'm excited for because Destiny 2 is coming out, and I'm excited for, like, the first game. I'll be honest, it fell flat real hard. They did some good stuff with it, and I had some really good times because I played with you guys. But like any MMO, if you have friends that you enjoy playing with, it's great. So the parts that were good about Destiny, we all were able to amplify and enjoy more. But there's so much more they could have done with that game, and I think if they're starting to at least take the biggest approach now, because the scariest thing for all of us was like how do you even put this? The fact that they're not paying attention to Destiny and kind of letting it die and not talking to it while they're working on this new game is how you got to nurture your player base. You got to give them a reason to stick around. So I'm glad that they're starting to do that. Hopefully that continues. Narzel, what's going on, man?
Yeah, as you might know, last week I said I was looking for an RPG to play. I couldn't find one. So sitting there, scrolling through my Steam library, I found Mountain Blade. I was like, I played this a little bit. It was kind of fun. So I reinstalled it. And I've been playing it all week, 5 hours a day. Because that game is fucking addicting. Yeah. Bad words. Yeah.
Dude, keep your cusses to yourself, Andreas.
Yeah, keep your curses off this fucking podcast.
Yeah, and it's a game that has to take a long time to play too. You can't just hop on, play it for 4 hours and get the whole experience. You have to play the long con on it.
Sounds like my girlfriend's worst nightmare.
It's a really fun game, and a new one's coming out this year too. So I'm excited to see that.
Has an awesome name of any game, like Mount and Blade. Like, that just is bad.
Or bad.
Yeah. Let's move on to just a few things that we had kind of decided we wanted to discuss this week. I'm just gonna turn it over to Daniel, because Daniel, you brought forward a couple things, and I don't know that much about them, so I almost feel like it'd be better if you introduce them, if you don't mind just taking the reins on that.
Oh yes, I love taking reins. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I make you reins.
I love the reins. In all seriousness, let's get down to business here. Defeat
the Huns.
I did bring up something because I saw something cool, and this is nothing but just something cool. That EVE Online, just for starters, we talked about this in, I think, 2 episodes ago. I kind of talked briefly about EVE Online, but I'm just continually impressed by the game in general, just because it's like this living, breathing ecosystem, which to me, like, you have MMOs like World of Warcraft where everybody's doing these things, but EVE is like the only game that's just, they successfully made a whole breathing ecosystem, of people doing things together.
That can, like, sustain itself, yeah.
Yeah, and I have nothing more to say about it than that, but it's like, it's amazing. But anyway, the other part is that they recently have been connecting with the exoplanet researchers. If you guys are up on your recent news stuff, they've been having this whole thing where NASA came out and said that they found 7 new exoplanets, which is to say planets that are not in our solar system that could potentially sustain life. And so they're like, oh, some of these planets can be habitable. So they basically have turned over this giant computation of where other planets could be in the whole galaxy and like what they've seen so far with their new telescope and stuff. And they just turn it over to EVE, and as far as I understand it, and to be honest, it's a little bit complicated. I'm not totally sure what's going on, but they have added this data, this accurate space data to Eve, and they're using the players to sort and classify all the data and then give back to them through like actual space flight. I'm not gonna talk more about it because I'm not totally sure, but honestly, like that sounds really cool, just how it is, and it gets me really excited because it makes me start thinking about like what's gonna happen in the future with games with this kind of stuff. Like, are they gonna start weaving in actual science into like these games where people are getting together in a social context, and like working together to solve real world problems instead of just like, oh man, we got to do this raid and we got to kill this dragon that doesn't exist in real life. Like if they're actually going and doing this kind of stuff together and having fun doing it and like crowdsourcing, like I don't totally understand it, but I am excited about it.
That sounds really awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, like just the potential of that, just thinking about it. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that. I don't know if you guys care at all about it or have any thoughts on it.
I do. I'm upset I didn't know anything about it, though. I'm upset that I didn't. I mean, I know about the planets discovered, but that's really cool. That reminds me of, those captchas that you do, like when you sign up for something? It's like the little thing that says like QR45.
Yeah. Are you a robot thing?
Yeah, there was a system put in place. I don't know about which company. It was an online company where they partnered with a library that had a computer that scanned books in and auto-detected all the text, like old books that were falling apart. And it would, if it couldn't figure out what something was, it would snapshot it and send it to the captcha service. So a human would have to type in what it was, and they benefited the software that way, which is really cool. But that's what that reminds me of, is using something that's already there and doubling it for like a real life experience or use. So that's really cool.
Yeah, dude, that kind of stuff is just super exciting. Anyway, moving on, the thing that I thought we could talk a little bit more about was the esports stuff, just because I love looking at esports and seeing how it's evolving. And it's been doing some really exciting things lately, and I just love the idea of esports getting as like legitimate as real sports or as close as possible. So on that note, I think it was a couple weeks ago, first heard news about the NBA and 2K Games, which is a publisher, coming together to make NBA 2K esports, an entire league of esports. And the one thing that I thought was interesting that distinguished this, because we've already got like the NRG team, which is a bunch of esports teams in a conglomerate that's got backers such as Shaquille O'Neal, Alex Rodriguez or A-Rod, Jimmy Rollins, these baseball, basketball players. Big sports money. But this one, actually, if I read it correctly, they're going to have it such that you have like the New York Knicks, and then, you have the Golden State Warriors, and then you have their teams, and then you have you have like their D League, and then you have their esports league, which is like, literally, it would be the New York Knicks, but their esports team. So it's not like, they're creating a whole new team with a whole new name or anything. It's just literally like, oh, dude, you're going to watch the Knicks versus, the Cavaliers play Overwatch, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
It's got to be in preparation for this Overwatch league that's coming out. Nobody's ever tried to do anything like this. We've talked about it before. I won't. We talked about Overwatch and Zelda. That's but in Destiny. But the
Drink.
Yeah. Bingo. The
Shots!
Basically what's going on is they're doing a location based esport format. No one's ever tried anything like it. And if it works, you bet your ass all the big esport league, CS, are probably going to try to get on board with this. And I think Blizzard is the company that can do this because their resource pool is fucking massive because of all those World of Warcraft subscriptions people forgot to cancel. But it's got to be in line with that because and people have been saying this for a while, that basketball teams are the most suited to pair with esports because of the team format, because of the way the player rosters work, and the way that it's the most competitive esports games are 5v5, 6v6, or 4v4. And all of those kind of are similar. In Overwatch, again, I speak about it because I know the most about it, has recently had teams started even putting in, instead of being a 6-man team, Overwatch is always 6 people, having extra players for their rosters. And nobody's ever done that before, so they don't know, what can you switch them out mid-series, or do you have to wait till games? But now we're starting to get to the point where, okay, we need somebody that can execute threes really well, put him in. And you have that same feel coming from these video games. So I think there's a lot of parallels that really allow for. This isn't a surprise at this point, and we're only going to see more American basketball teams partner up. There was this is a huge topic, so I'm not even going to touch it. But there's a lot of sightings and rumors of big names, especially like the retired basketball players, of like Jordan era, being involved in esports purchases, or being around, or being spotted at BlizzCon, stuff like that. So I'm really excited, and I think I'm definitely cool. Anybody else have thoughts?
I wonder how that was going to work in Europe or here in Sweden, for example, because we don't have 1 million states to have different teams in.
Yeah, 1 million.
So,
Well, there's only 50, first of all.
That would be a really full
World
flag. There'd be a lot of stars on that flag. My goodness.
more freedom.
Yeah, dude, so much freedom, dude. We're gonna split them up. No,
We have
but
so
one
much
last
freedom, we don't know what to do with it. You
Don't
wouldn't believe
open
it.
the political
Yeah,
bottle. Don't open the political bottle.
Let's keep that. Let's keep that genie in.
Moderating. No politics. Stop.
No, the last remark I
On
wanted
this
to have on that
podcast.
is just the fact, like, just to bring light to the fact that because these NBA guys are reaching into esports, like, NBA is a millions dollar, thing. It makes billions of dollars. For esports, it's millions, trillions. But for esports,
no, we just gets thrown around.
it's but for like esports, like as me and Nick could attest, in StarCraft 2 and stuff, you're lucky to get like $100,000 for a prize. But like now, like if like for all these esports people, the NBA could just hand them like, okay, here's a $1 million contract, or like here's $200,000 contract, and that's not even that much money. But just that little bit of like table scraps that they're like throwing the way of esports is gonna like jump at like 300%. So I find that pretty exciting.
It's gonna be crazy, man. And there was I think we talked about this before, but how that one CS team started paying their players something exorbitant. It was like 25 or 50K a month or something. It was something crazy huge, and it inflated the pay gap market, and it was crazy. So we're gonna see this weird transition time in esports. But I'm really excited for it because I don't know. I enjoy watching people play games as long as it's a good. I mean, I was watching Frank mess around in Destiny earlier with Andreas. It was a lot of fun. So I mean, mess around like just have fun. I didn't mean that you were just messing around. But
Yeah, I know.
the premise of it's really exciting to me. So anybody else have any comments before we move on?
Nah, sounds interesting. All right. Cool. So is that me?
That is anybody else? Yeah, let's move on. Do you have anything for us this week?
Yeah. Just something real quick. It's just a lesson in how much of an impulsive buyer I am, and it's not all roses in Nintendo Land. I don't know if any of you guys saw this.
Oh no!
Has it ever been?
Apparently there's a problem with the Joy-Cons. The little controllers that stick on the side of the system when you turn it into mobile mode, and they connect to the little plastic holder that turns it into like a traditional controller. It looks like a 360 controller basically.
I heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, apparently they have a syncing problem. And, there's a guy on Game Explain who they noticed during playing Zelda, every now and then they'd lose sync. They would lose control of the game. And he did a demonstration. It was a pretty good demonstration. He basically held it in his hand, and he was doing the calibration where you could move the joystick around. And he moved his other hand over the controller, and you could see it start to jitter on the screen. If he put the controller behind his back, it started to jitter on the screen, and it basically... It's kind of scary actually, because it reminds me of, I don't know if you remember this, the iPhone problem a few years ago when they redesigned the iPhone, and if you held the iPhone a certain way, you would lose cellular signal, And I don't think they ever fixed that. I think that was just kind of built into the hardware. So it's kind of concerning that, $300 video game system coming out the box has signal problems with its controller, which I guess the PS3 had similar issues at launch. People talked about that. They finally fixed it after a year. So what remains to be seen is whether or not it's going to be fixed in the day one patch, if it can even be fixed, if it's some sort of radio strength problem. I have no idea what's going on with it. All Nintendo has said is that they're investigating it, which is not very encouraging, because if they knew it was a problem and it was going to be in the day one patch, they'd be able to tell you that by now. It's a week away. So odds are they didn't know about this, and I have no idea what's going on. The funny thing is, some people might have canceled their pre-order. I went out and ordered a Pro controller, which apparently has no problems with it. So I just, I'm like, oh, my controller might not work. Yeah, let me spend another $70 for one that will work.
This
That's
is the
great,
guy who
whatever.
was hesitant to drop 40 on Overwatch to play with us on
yeah.
PC.
But at least I know
they
I'll
must
use
have
this.
tested it.
Because I spent this $40 on Overwatch and I played it once. So
Not my fault.
Yeah.
Narzel, were you trying to jump in there?
he said they must have tested it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so too, that they test these things, but then the NES Classic controller is about this long, so I'm not so sure their testing is going very well right now.
Maybe not.
But that's all I had. Just what am I getting myself into next week? Is there going to be problems? Or are they going to fix it?
I can't wait to hear you vent your frustrations live.
It's gonna be fun.
Yep. So that's all I had this week.
Cool. Not cool. That sucks potentially. I think that there's. It's easy to say how do they not catch this? And as somebody who works in I work in a hospitality industry, so it's way different. But there are always multiple people in I just know from like behind the scenes of like events and stuff, right? There's multiple people there that are also going, how did we not catch this? Like they 100% know. I think that and from somebody who's worked in hotels for like almost 10 years now, I will say that saying we're investigating means we don't want to take the blame and make a negative experience.
Avoiding it.
We totally are scrambling and trying to figure this shit out, and we hope that you get that. But saying we'll look into it or we're actively investigating means stop. We get it. We're working on it. And I think that's...
absolutely.
That's something that you only say when something has gone wrong. And
absolutely.
I've luckily not had to say it very many times, but I know that that's what that means. So.
Yep, I work in software development, and it's the same thing.
Exactly.
Ongoing
investigation. As a project manager, whenever that kind of stuff comes up, like a lot of times it's just like, okay, we kind of knew that this was happening, but we have deadlines and other people and other stakeholders, so let's just slide that one in, see what happens, and then we'll investigate further, as things develop, sometimes I have a really hard time believing that somebody wasn't aware of that already, and they weren't just like, all right, it's too late, it's time to get moving on this thing. Like, deadlines are just the enemy of video game everything, I feel like.
Halo 2, man.
Anytime there's a problem... Was that?
Halo 2.
Halo 2? Yeah, just anytime there's an issue with a video game, it can always just be traced back to the fact that somebody up there with the fat cat with their, their big old comically large cigar is just sitting back, and then they want their deadline in, and then somebody else suffers because of it. And deadlines are good in one way, but on the other hand, I know I'm one of many gamers who are fine with you just being like, listen, guys, it's not done yet. Just wait a little bit longer,
Just
pre-order
look
hand.
at
Exactly.
Battlefield.
Yeah. But that's how we end up with the day one patch. And it's funny, traditionally in the past, Nintendo's the company that'll say, hey, Zelda's not ready yet. It's going to take another 6 months. Like, they haven't been afraid to delay games in the past. But nowadays, everything's got a day one patch. Everything's got, stuff that got finished after it went gold. And it's just
they have a lot invested into this too. They have to prove that they can be more than a gimmick to a lot of people that didn't grow up with Nintendo. And I think that if you look at their most recent extremely successful title, Pokemon Go, which is not even wasn't that developed by?
And it's not even them.
Yeah, it was
I
not
think
them.
They
It was
own it. They own a stake in it.
They just
Yeah,
own
they own
the
company.
IP, right? That was it.
They own the IP. Yeah, they own the company that owns the IP, or they have a stake in that company, whatever. It's not
Google
actually
owns them
Nintendo.
now, actually.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah,
It's Niantic, which is by Google, which is weird.
So
Well, that's that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on before we continue down that rabbit hole. But Andreas, do you have anything for us? Maybe a game that we haven't played?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Not this week.
Moving on. No, I'm just kidding. Do you have any
I'm busy with Mountain Blade, so.
Mountain Blade?
Disappointed.
Disappointed. No, that's good.
Just kidding, dude.
But while we are on the subject, Mountain Blade. That's on Steam? Can you get that on Steam?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Because you're raving about it. I also crave an RPG that isn't a heavily modded Skyrim that's prone to crashing. Don't know how
I would
that-
suggest.
As long as it has a
suggest
compelling
downloading a
story.
mod,
Dude, it doesn't-
Like,
though. It has no story at all.
I cannot play it on my PC. Like I can go through and take a lot of stuff out, but it's just so much work. I just might as well just re-download the game. But
dude,
it's just,
I put so many mods on my Skyrim that like it looks great, but every time my character moves, he suddenly stops and moves backwards like every 3 seconds. And I don't know how to fix it.
I have that same issue, man. With Skyrim, I have it where like I installed one of the texture packs, and then I did something apparently you're not supposed to do, which I doubled up on the texture packs. Like I did another one too, and apparently, like, at least for my machine, like I guess like you can, but dude, every now and again it looks like, you know, in like the movies or like the YouTube videos when they're trying to do something creepy and it's like and like everything inverts color really quick. It kind of does that. Like if I turn too quickly or like a whirl the screen, just for a split second, I catch all this like distorted black and gray. I don't know what I did, but
We've gone too far.
all right, let's move right along into the main topic, which we have just about 25 minutes for, which is really cool. The games you couldn't finish, games you couldn't get into, even maybe if you wished you could get into, or games that you couldn't bring yourself to finish. So I'm not talking about games where you went on vacation and you never got around to it, or your parents broke the disc when you were a kid and you never could finish it. More games that didn't catch your interest, and let's talk about why. Because not everything's for everyone. So let's make sure to keep this conversation relatively positive. But for example, I could never get into Fallout. After Fallout 3 I kind of liked, but Fallout 4 especially, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. And I think it's because I have a really ADD brain, and I want to advance a story. I want to be compelled, and then I'm just like, all of a sudden, it's too far, and then I have to do this thing, and then I unlock another, like 2 other quests, and I'm trying to finish this one quest, and I just get really overwhelmed really quickly. And I don't know why I didn't in Skyrim, but I think it's because I'm just more prone to medieval in that. I don't know why. Skyrim didn't overwhelm me like that, but I, for example, could not get into the Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas. Even Fallout 3 I never finished. Like I knew that. Go ahead.
Really?
I don't think Mountain Blade is for you then if it's like that.
I just get so frustrated.
Because you have to do a lot to progress in that game.
Ugh.
And there's no story whatsoever, so you have to make your own story. So
Fallout.
Yeah, I did eventually push through and finish Fallout 3.
It was that it had that, like, Liam Neeson was your dad, and there was some shit going down, and I wanted to find out what was going down so I could help. But every time I go, some stupid lady needed me to go kill a crab that was in the river or whatever. And then like I found like this and then I go talk to people, and I'm talking to people, and I'm like, these people are cannibals. Why am I here? And then I do go away, and then I was a vampire or something. It was weird, man. Like it's just a one playthrough, and that was just a roller coaster of experiences, and there's nothing linear about it. I was like, well, after I finished the vampire thing with this guy who's apparently a vampire now, I have to go back, and then like there's a not a quagmire, a mirelurk that's like too strong for me to beat. So I have to run from it and quick save, but my quick save is so far back, and I found cool shit. I don't think I can find it again. Like, it was just super stressful.
Dude, my playthrough Fallout 3, dude, was so similar, dude. I had the exact same thing with Fallout, because like I played Fallout 3 all the way through. I managed to make it through the whole main quest, but like, dude, that game just went like I was just like, oh, cool, you know, like this is cool environment. I'm figuring this shit out. Ooh, look at these people, they're all fucked up. That's cool, and you know, like then I'm just like, oh, there's this mystery unraveling. Like, who is this scientist? He's my dad. There's this mysterious project. And then, like, everything just came out. And, just like, okay, I went to the thing and then, like, oh, shit. Oh, he's my dad. Oh, he's dead. He's gone. And then it's like, oh, there's the helicopters are flying over. And then everybody went away. And now it's over. And, like, I was just like, I built up, like, 8 hours of this, like, suspense, and I was just like, this mystery was just building. And then just suddenly Liam Neeson was there, and then everything just went to shit within like a half hour. And then it was over, and I had this just strange emptiness inside. I was just like, I just didn't feel like it paid off. And then there was the Green Man. But yeah, like, and then Fallout 4 came, and I watched like the beginning part, really cool. This you have a wife and everything's nice in this like 50s neighborhood, and then everything goes to shit, really seemingly compelling. And then I got out of the vault, and then I went and talked to the robot dude who was, hanging out, that weird robot dude with the legs, and then I just stopped.
Yeah.
And I never went back. And I don't know why. What's wrong with that game? I don't know why.
I don't know. I like when Fallout 4, and like I'm sure you guys played more of it, but I got to the point where like it was like your settlement's unhappy, and I just was like, fuck you. Like I was just like, I don't want to deal with
nuclear wasteland. What do you want from me?
Your settlement's unhappy. I'm like, who made me God? I don't want to
do it yourself.
This isn't black and white. I don't want to fucking have to manage all these peasants, and I don't know. And then like my mech suit ran out of power. I was fucking furious, and I couldn't remember where I left it.
There's a marker on your map.
I know. It took me a good 3 days to figure out that's what that meant. And then my problem with with like those games by Bethesda, I think they're beautiful, and I always buy them and I always play them because like especially like the intros to all of those games are incredible. Like just as immersive. But I wish that would keep going on. I think Skyrim had a lot more. I don't know, a lot more. Like I found Alduin and the dragons really compelling. And the fact that you still saw them when you were out doing other stuff kind of reminded me that they were awesome. Whereas Fallout doesn't have that as much. And there's just definitely like the sense of mystical wonder isn't there in Fallout. It's more just like desolate, I think that's part of it. But man, I gotta tell you, those games just fucking piss me off because this happened to me. And I'll tell you a quick little story and then I'll let you guys talk and I'll shut up. But do you guys remember? No, you're not gonna remember. But in Skyrim, there was this thing that I don't even know how to describe it. Like there was I was up in the ice in these ruins. And it was really cool, and I somehow was fighting one of the snow trolls or whatever they're called, the ice trolls. I'm talking about?
Frost trolls.
Yeah, frost troll. And the physics bugged out when he hit me, and I went flying up the fucking mountain or something. Like he knocked me higher than I should have been able to jump, or something happened. Like I was running away from him, and I got to the end of a quest, and the NPC that's at the end of the quest that I hadn't even started yet attacked me, so I fucking killed him. And then and I don't know if he attacked me because I accidentally hit him or what, but he attacked me, so I killed him. And then later, like that quest was all bugged out, and I did it, and I got back, and I was like, oh shit, I killed that guy. Like, what do I do? And then it was like sitting there, and then I got so frustrated with Skyrim after multiple times of doing stuff in the wrong sequence because I'm a trooper. I like difficult things, so I'll go in, and this thing is way over leveled, but I have a lot of potions, and I can just whittle this fucking thing down. and I do, and I just wait for RNG to be my favorite, and I do, and I kill it. So I did all these things out of order, and I got frustrated because now I'm like I'm fighting things that are too strong here, and this quest is at the right level. And then I got drunk one night and played it, and I woke up in prison, in like a dungeon, like mining prison, and I had just I was like captured, and I was a werewolf, and I was trying to eat everybody. And I never played it. I had to start a new game because I didn't know what I didn't have any of my equipment, and I don't know if I didn't black out drunk or anything, but I got drunk and I was playing with friends. I don't know if it's my friends played it or anything, but man, and this fucking quick save, I lost everything.
Brutal.
I'm crying.
Yeah, I think I ran into a dragon for the first time in that game and got my ass whooped, and it's like, yeah, I'm over this. And that was before I played through Fallout 3 and even Fallout 4, so I guess at this point I could potentially go back and understand the mechanics of the game a little bit better, at least as far as the inventory system and everything and how that all works. Maybe I'll enjoy it more, but yeah, I couldn't finish that one either.
Go ahead and keep talking, guys. My neighbor's dog is going nuts, so I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic for a little bit just to spare you all.
Nice. Yeah, another one that I didn't finish that I plan on trying to finish soon was Dark Souls. I haven't played any of the Souls series, not Dark Souls 2, not Demon Souls, none of these things, but I started to try Dark Souls on the 360, and within 5 minutes came across this 10-foot boss that I just couldn't even get a single hit in on. I'm like, what am I doing? You know, I'm not doing this. I'm just bye. Nope. I shut it down and I never went back.
You run around him. There you go.
Yeah, just give him the slip, you know.
And I think I did that, but I couldn't figure out where to go from there. So I was just like, oh, yeah, you know what? Screw this. I give up.
Let's see.
Dude, Dark Souls looks so cool. Like, I saw Dark Souls 3, saw a bunch of, a bunch of clips of it, and it just, like, the nightmarish aspect of it, and, like, all the atmosphere looks so cool, and that just makes it so much more painful for me. I never started playing it. It just made it so much more painful for me that the story is not clear. Like, they have some kind of backstory, allegedly, but it's, like, from what I've read, it's, like, and Andreas, you might know more about it, but it's, like, you just kind of feel that there are some things and there's some basic, characters and stuff, but it's not really a cogent, like, kind of story. That just breaks my heart, because, like, with atmosphere like that, it just looks amazing.
It's supposedly, like, you have to fill in the blank yourself, mostly.
That's
make
how
your
I
own
felt
story.
about Bloodborne. Bloodborne to me was very, like, it was fucking awesome. Like, the bosses were epic. Everything had this really cool art style that's different from what I've seen in the Dark Souls games. But I wanted to play Bloodborne because I knew that most Dark Souls players couldn't get access to it because they didn't have a PlayStation 4. So I could just be like, no, but I played the one that you can't play. But all of the art styles in those games is really cool. Like, the lack of a story is kind of what turns me off too. I need a reason. I need to be somewhere, because in real life I can't rescue a princess or save a town by defeating the monster, right? So I need a reason to do any of this stuff. I think that's
this is fulfilling your manly dreams when you're playing video games, all the things that you think about doing but then don't really do, you can actually do in video games, like murdering people.
Those always has a purpose that you have to reach, but it doesn't tell you what it does or anything, so that's why it turns people off, I think, because it's always the same: light the fire, and you don't know what it does or why you should. So
turn the game down. How audible? I'm sorry to interrupt. How audible is that dog?
Don't really hear anything, dude.
Dude, I think it's because I have my gain way down on my mic, but it is like so distracting for me. So I apologize for like all the meetings and stuff. It's just like one of those big dogs going rah, 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 like waits. Rah. You're like, okay, he's done. Rah, 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 rah.
Okay, now that's funny.
You can
now.
Kind of
yeah, that's driving me nuts, guys. I'm sorry. I'm really distracted. I'm being bad at this.
That's
I want to go on a rant and like I start and then like that's why like my Skyrim rant like fell flat all of a sudden because I was like, fuck, this dog is so annoying.
So I did have one. Mine's more of a throwback, because, and it kind of ties into what we've been saying. The games we've been talking about. I'm kind of a follower when it comes to these things, like whether it's music or a TV show or a game. If everyone's talking about it, talking about how great it is, I want to play it. And I never finished Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is highly regarded as the best game in the series and one of the best games of all time. And I remember playing it. It got to a certain point, and I was just like, this castle is too fucking big. I'm done. I put it down and never went back. A few years ago, I bought it on 360, and it's still sitting there collecting dust. I still haven't played it. I need to get back to it, but it's frustrating when you hear this thing that everybody loves, and you just can't bring yourself to finish it.
It's like when some games are daunting almost. Like that's how I feel about the Fallout games. Skyrim games, I guess I don't care. And if I could dismiss or delete entirely quest lines, I think I'd be fine. I'd be like, I don't feel like doing that right now, and like hit it and be done with it for a little bit. like move it to a go back to later. But the fact that there's this huge list and I have to sort through it, and I feel this obligation to finish it, is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
My friend, about what you said, that when everyone talks about the game, and like I haven't played Mass Effect, Bioshock, anything like that. I think mainly it's because people say, "Oh, this game is great. This is the best story game ever." Blah blah blah, and then I go into it and I don't get anything like people have set my expectation to it, and then they just lose interest immediately.
Yeah,
I think that's why I can't finish those games.
The way those games work too is you can't, like, none of us went into BioShock Infinite or Mass Effect and we're like, this game's going to be the best game I've ever played. We went into it with the expectation of what's all this about. And then I remember Mass Effect 1, I was pleasantly surprised when it came out. It's kind of hard to play now because of the way the mechanics work and stuff. But when I went and played that game, I was like, let's see what this is about. And it exceeded my expectations in every way. And then when Mass Effect 2 came out, I was really excited, and it exceeded my expectations in every way. And at that point, I was able to forgive Mass Effect 3 for the few flaws it did have, because I was just so in love with the characters. And I think that BioShock was the same way. I saw somebody playing it, I was like, what the fuck is this? What is that? And I just slowly got into it. A game that I couldn't finish that will make me unpopular was The Witcher 3. And the reason is, it took me a long time to figure this out, because I like Mass Effect, but I couldn't finish Dragon Age, and I couldn't finish The Witcher 3. I think it was Dragon Age 1 and 2. And I think that it's because let's talk about Witcher first. Witcher 3 I couldn't get into because I felt like there was a bunch of story from the first two games that I didn't quite get the context of, and I tried to go back, and the games were too dated for me, and I couldn't quite. I had to fall. I didn't like coming in Act 3 and trying to figure out why I care about these people or why I care about anything. And the same thing happened to me in multiple games, but it's been these titles have these long years in between them that it can be really tough to pick up. And Witcher 3 is widely regarded as one of the best RPGs. Like, it's on the.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it.
I have it on my Xbox. It's been there. I put maybe 3 hours into it, and I enjoyed the time. But I just got kind of I don't care about any of this, and it's because I don't have any context. And I went on the Wikipedia, I did all that good stuff, but I still found myself, because I hadn't experienced it, like, not caring. And Dragon Age, I think, was because it wasn't Mass Effect, but it has like the same kind of like attempted style, and it was like you've been drinking a really nice scotch all night, and then they serve you like whiskey. It just was when you put them next to each other. Why? Like, I just had such a great experience. So
I think that's like why I can't play Mass Effect, because I played Dragon Age without any outside knowledge, and I loved them. Now when I play Mass Effect, I can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So to speak.
And that works both ways too. Like, when it was a struggle for me to get through Fallout 3, but Fallout 4, well, granted, it was refined. It was a better version of that same experience. Was so much easier for me to play through because I had fought through everything that was, you could say, was wrong with Fallout 3, and I was either numb to it or I was just able to enjoy it because I understood it. So that goes both ways. Yeah, I mean, like, you couldn't play Dragon Age because it wasn't like Mass Effect. He couldn't get into Mass Effect because it wasn't exactly like Dragon Age. It's funny how that happens.
It's interesting to me too, because I think of other games I can't finish or get into for that matter, and there's a lot of titles that I just they don't keep my interest very well. But the thing that doesn't make sense is I didn't play Oblivion or Morrowind, and Skyrim was plenty awesome to me, but I didn't play. Ooh, I thought Skyrim was great. I mean, it was. I say that I get frustrated with Skyrim, and I never. But I like Skyrim. I didn't like Fallout that much, but I like Skyrim as much as I was frustrated with it. I thought that it was beautiful. So my rant earlier about it was, it was frustrating for me. And like, those kinds of open world games aren't for me, but I do play them and enjoy them because like I remember looking up and like looking at the Aurora Borealis in Skyrim and walking around, because that whole like me dying and not playing, I ended up making a whole new character and playing through the whole game again because I thought that it was so cool. But I don't know why. I mean, it might be because those friends Daniel, who was like the Elder Scrolls lore master when we were growing up, and you knew all about the shit in Morrowind and Oblivion.
Dude, I love.
I know. So I guess I could ask you about stuff. I don't know. It's interesting to me that Fallout didn't do that for me.
Well, and I do think for me either. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to change subject. So if you got something on Skyrim or Fallout, go ahead.
I was going to talk about Elder Scrolls. I mean, like I played Morrowind, but like, and like for me, I haven't really started any games I didn't think I would finish. But like the games that I have not finished in a way, it was just because, you know, for some reason other than that, I just couldn't get into them. But for instance, the Talos Principle, I have not finished that one because I can't face myself yet. But I will eventually. Morrowind, though, I played Morrowind. I still think Morrowind is the best Elder Scrolls game. Even beyond Skyrim, it just had a sense of wonder and mystery, and just like, wow, this is really fleshed out kind of thing that I just don't think that they've replicated it again. And on that note, actually, Elder Scrolls Online just came out with their Morrowind expansion, and I'm probably going to get into playing that next week. But I actually didn't end up finishing Morrowind for a long time, but it was the total opposite of like me just not getting into it. It was because I didn't even realize there was like a main quest story. Like I just went in and then I stole some guy's shoes and I got in trouble, and then I had to run into the mountains, and then I ended up in there. I found this weird dude who killed me instantly, and then I ran away and I went to these islands, and then I found this giant fat guy underground, and then I tried to take his stuff and he wouldn't let me. And then like I just went on this thing, you know, I'm like, I just was going around doing this random stuff. I found a guy with this crazy curved sword and he was angry at me. I don't know why, and I killed him, you know. And I was just having a blast, you know, like finding all these different places and stuff. And like it wasn't until like years after I first played it that I actually was just like, oh, there's like an actual story that's supposed to be happening here. So if that were to be an opposite example, that was like a situation where I was just like, oh man, this is just too crazy and too amazing. And I wish I could have that kind of experience again. Anyway, Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I wanted to chime back in on what Andreas said about, you know, how sometimes the hype can affect the game too. You know, like if you expect too much of something and it doesn't grab you immediately, you know, that can impact and could be a reason why you don't get into a game. Like I'm probably about to commit an act of violence to any of our older listeners who might disagree with this heresy, but I never, and to this day, do not understand the hype over GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. I do not get it. People swear by it. I think it's because by the time I found out about that game, I think it was by the time. Now, like, if you look at it in a historical perspective as a precursor to console FPSs, it was the first one.
That's why, really.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Because it was
nostalgia.
Much in the same way that Halo changed everything, GoldenEye changed everything. It was the first one on consoles that was really good. But for me, I was already playing great PC shooters. You know, like Dark Forces 2. You know, Quake 2. By the time I found out about this game, I'm already playing all these great games on PC, and I look at it and I'm like, the control is trash. I don't. What are you talking about? I don't like this. How do people like this?
Is Captain Console saying that he used to be PC Master Race? Is that what you're getting at right now?
No, but when it came to FPSs, until Halo 2 and maybe a little bit of Halo 1, I was absolutely for shooters PC Master Race. Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm afraid that I ruined Metro 2033 too by hyping it up too much.
It's the best game, Nick. You should get it. It's the best game I've ever played. And I was like,
I know Frank bought it, but he hasn't played it yet.
Yeah, you talked to me about it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, Captain Console, I ought to look and see if that hasn't been taken. That might stick.
Captain Console, yeah. Let's see
Dude, that's your new name.
I think that generally games you can not finish them or not like them for different reasons. I think that generally it's a consistent thing. Mine is I get distracted too much and I feel like the game becomes work instead of an escape from work in life. Like that's why I don't like a lot of open world RPGs, because I'm like I didn't like Minecraft because I said to myself, this is this is constructive in the most pointless way possible. And I just wasn't into it. But I appreciated why people liked it. It was cool. But it's, not every game's for everybody. So it doesn't necessarily make a certain game a bad game, even in my eyes. Just because I couldn't finish Dragon Age doesn't mean I didn't think that it was really cool, and like the Grey Wardens and stuff are really awesome. But I just can't. It's not for me. Just like I'm sure Narsley, you can appreciate why BioShock and Mass Effect are cool games. It's just that they're not your cup of tea. And I think that it's funny because all of us, except for you, are like, you don't like those games. You haven't played Mass Effect, Frank.
You haven't played Mass Effect.
Yeah, I will. I looked long and hard. It's on sale, the trilogy for PC, for $10 on Origin today, and I really considered it, but yeah, he's giving me the eye.
Don't you dare play it before Metro.
Play that game?
That Mass Effect, dude.
Dude, that ass, dude. Miranda, the Geeth. Dude, the
she has an Australian accent, so when she says
yeah,
she's
like there's just one character.
Geeth.
Mass Effect.
Geeth. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up. Try to keep it a little shorter today. Sorry for my occasional ranting interrupted by a dog that only I could hear. Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe he was never there.
He's a hellhound. But they, once again, I think that it's basically, it's not everything for everybody. Not everybody likes onions. Not everybody likes.
Yeah, the conclusion is that there's no conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. That's we get. I mean, this is one of those topics that I set aside like 25 minutes for, and as we're talking, I was like, this could go on a long time. We need to just have like an episode one of these weeks where we just talk about a main topic and like get something really juicy and just go to town on it. And I think episode 20 should definitely be a drunk episode. I'm just throwing it out there right now. But
God.
But there's
more moonshine.
Yeah, good morning, Andreas. Get wasted. We could change the time maybe.
Get more moonshine.
You got some Bloody Marys over there.
Yeah. So let's start with Shazam. Where can people find you? Any shout outs? As much as you guys like to make fun of me for using that word, but I'm gonna continue to do it. Any shout outs to Shazam, or where can people find you?
Dude, I will do a shout out because I don't know, man. Like I've mentioned him before, and if it's not plain by now, like I'm a huge fan of Day 9, and like I still watch his stream. Like I don't follow too many people, but I watch him, and I just like him because he's one of the few streamers / video game entertainers that mixes philosophy and like actually deep thoughts about things into his gaming and just joking around. So I don't know, I'm sure he doesn't need it. He's got followers of hundreds of thousands, but I would just toss it out there. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. Anyway, you can find me on twitter.com/Shazam32. Still haven't said anything on there. You can go and see what I did. I follow a dog and a bunch of Star Trek guys like Riker Googling. That's a great one. Should definitely shout out to Riker Googling. That's a funny one. That's all he does. But you can also see me on twitch.com/Shazam32. And this Sunday, I'm definitely going to get back into the Talos Principle and just try my best to muscle through that and get over myself and see if anything interesting comes out of that, because the story seems really cool so far. But that's about it.
Do you know at what time?
Oh yeah, I don't. But I'm going to. I'll put it on the stream title, and then we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Fly.
Cool. Yeah, as usual, twitter.com, givenafly1021. There's no E's in the word given. I'm also on Twitch. I'm trying to stream every Friday night. I streamed a couple of hours of Destiny tonight, just goofing around in the Crucible. Next Friday, I'll probably take off, but maybe I'll pop back on Saturday. We'll see. Depends on how engrossed I am in Zelda next Friday. That's where you can find me.
Excellent. Narzel?
You can find me on Twitter at Narzel. That's about it. I'm not gonna stream, so don't bother go to my Twitch.
I'm gonna go there anyway. I'm just gonna look and see.
Come to my Twitch.
I'm just gonna see what's going on.
You can go to my Twitch where a modded empowered Narzel will ban anybody. No, I'm just kidding.
To experience the tyranny of Narzel.
That's it for episode number 5, right? 5.
That is correct.
We did it. We did
episode
it.
Episode 5.
We're hitting easy multiples to count it. So I thanks again for watching. You can find me at Sovereign Dude on Twitter. Not on Twitter. On Twitch. I don't have a Twitter yet. I have a personal Twitter, but it's my first and last name, and it's a mess. So no Twitter quite yet, but you can totally tweet at GivenAFly1021 and tell him everything you want to say to me. So all the mean stuff gets filtered out or amplified.
Yes, amplified.
And I will be streaming tonight with, I believe Nars will be joining me, and I don't know, Shazam, if you want to join me, we're going to play some Overwatch, and it's mid-season right now, and I want to stop being a garbage platinum player, and I want to become a total hot trash diamond player, and that's my goal. So, and everybody that I queue with goes to diamond, but me. So maybe it's got to be me. I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna be practicing there, talking about strategy, laughing a little bit, And if you want to just come stop by, say hi, or say whatever you want to. It's Wild West in my chat. So until next week, we will catch you then.
Subscribe on iTunes, please. Legacy Gamescast. Leave some feedback. Let us know how great we are or how terrible you think we are.
Yeah,
questions.
tell us we're boring.
Yep.
If
Any
that
questions
helps.
for the show? LegacyGamescast@gmail.com. And the audio version will be out on Tuesday.
Thank you, Frank, for doing that.
Thanks, guys.
I did not. Until next week.